Welcome back to the Gut Shot podcast with me, of course, our blogger extraordinaire, Syed from Outside the Box, and our global geopolitics commentator, Shamsul Syed, on the world's biggest podcast. Now, it is, right?
Yeah.
So in our crosshairs today is, of course, the Trump peace talks in Gaza, and we focus on Sharm el-Sheikh, the discussions that have been going on there. Hit us between the eyes, Syed. What's been happening?
Thank you. Good morning. Well, it has come and it has gone, and it is going to leave behind a huge mark on the Middle East and on the world, a huge mark on history. I'm referring to the Trump peace accord at Sharm el-Sheikh. Quite an extraordinary achievement in a very short time, because Donald Trump was able to assemble 27 world leaders at very short notice, and the first outcome was that the level of hostilities in the Middle East has gone down significantly. I think everyone acknowledges that, and the remaining hostages, the 20 live hostages, have been released. So the immediate cause for the continuation of the war, the hostilities, has now been removed, which is a significant achievement, because the last 2 years have been quite taxing, quite horrible for everybody. Also, to me, more significantly, is at the end of that meeting that they had in Sharm el-Sheikh, they did not sign any treaties, but I hope you recall that they had like a major media conference where there was a sort of a official signing of a media statement by 4 heads of state: Donald Trump, President Sisi of Egypt, President Erdogan of Turkey, and the Amir of Qatar, I think the Al-Thani or something, his name. 4 heads of state basically signed a media statement, which is quite unusual. You don't have heads of states signing a media statement. It was actually almost like an official declaration of what they have done, achieved, and what they would like to come out of the Sharm el-Sheikh meeting. The media statement was quite interesting. It was substantially not too biased or leaning to any one particular side. But what is significant is that there was no mention of the setting up of a Palestinian state, really.
Okay.
But there was mention of working towards amicable resolution of conflict, and they recognize the aspirations of all the people involved, the Palestinians
and the Israelis.
The religion was mentioned, the Muslims, the Jews, and the Christians. And also there was a reference to seeking peaceful resolution and avoiding situations which rely upon stirring up emotions, passions, and hate kind of speech, basically extremism. So the statement said that in going into the future, all such behaviors should be avoided at all costs. So this is, although it sounds quite benign and it sounds very generalized, it's actually far-reaching, because you can use this kind of a statement, which has been signed by the 4 major heads of state, to curb future things like, this various movements.
So you've got the 4. Let me get it again. Egypt,
Egypt, Turkey, Qatar, and the US.
Yeah. Okay.
So this can be used, or they can be held to it, to avoid future wrangles, whereby again they pick on issues that have created a lot of extremism, fanaticism, and hatreds in the last decades in the Middle East. Basically issues relating to religion, race, and things like that. So that is significant in my view, and because those who signed this communique and those who attended the Sharm el-Sheikh summit, they are in a way they are obliged to uphold what they have agreed upon. So this is also to me a sort of a backdoor extension of the Abrahamic
Accords.
Yeah, because the Abrahamic Accords achieves exactly that. Let's stop bickering and fighting and things like that.
Say, may I jump in at this point?
Yeah.
And put an underlining on this. Me and Chuang had a discussion in our, I think 2 episodes ago, where we were talking about the 20-point peace plan from Trump. And I called it basically a 1,500-year-old war that is being stopped by Trump, because it goes beyond exactly what you're saying, the extremism, the religious emotionalism that is within that region that perpetuate this kind of hatred and this kind of animosity. So the fact that you've got Egypt, which was the birthing place of the Muslim Brotherhood.
Yes.
Yeah. For our audiences who doesn't understand this, in America or in Europe, the Muslim Brotherhood that was born in Egypt is basically the mother of all snakes that we have had in the Muslim community across the world. And then you have Egypt. You have Turkey, which basically perpetuates the Muslim Brotherhood networking, and then you have Qatar, which basically is the home turf of safety for Hamas, right? So you've got these 3 players that has been whether gently pushed or forced by Trump to comply, right? And the beauty of that photograph that we saw was not only were there Arab countries, basically you've got Muslim countries that has backed this up, and including the Western European countries that come behind him. So I felt that this is a portrait or a momentous historic time in terms of changing the geopolitical leadership that has been taken up by Trump and America for the first time in decades.
Okay, gentlemen, I want to raise the possibility of... I just want to, of course, first of all, I want to say that Trump is a master of optics. I mean, he's really a master of the media. But beyond the hyperbole, right, I want to discuss the possibility, the question, which I think was raised by the Israeli ambassador to the US, Yakil Leiter, who has said that Israel will not depart from Gaza without the full disarmament of Hamas and presumably other armed groups that are aligned to Hamas, right? And no Israeli leader has actually promised a full IDF withdrawal, even if that condition is met. So, if that were the case, beyond the optics, beyond the positivity of all this, at a headline level, in terms of details on the ground, will there be a full demilitarization? Because both sides seem to be having this logjam, ideologically speaking.
I let I think Syed
the
take that up first.
the Sharm el-Sheikh agreement is only phase 1.
Correct. There's 2 more to go, right?
There's 2 more to go, but even that is not clear exactly how many parts there will be to it. But the second phase is the disarmament and demilitarization of Gaza, and I think also that Hamas shall leave the scene completely. I think they're already having some issues with the phase 2, the disarmament, demilitarization, because that is yet to be seen. From what I have read, they pretty much have, the Hamas still has a substantial amount of arms with them, and now it has been quite a few days since the Sharm el-Sheikh Accord, and there is no indication that any disarmament or demilitarization is going on the ground inside Gaza. So that is going to be an issue, even the release of the hostages, the release of the dead bodies has now come to it's sort of not moving, because now Hamas has said that they don't have any more dead bodies. They, according to some reports, they have returned 2 dead bodies. Another one was returned, but they found out that it is not an Israeli body. It was actually an Arab a body. So the Israelis sent it back. So even the return of the remaining 28 dead bodies, I think, is sort of stuck now. It's not moved beyond 2, as per the latest news I checked last night. So that is we have a bit of a issue there. It's stuck there. So this disarmament and demilitarization of Gaza is yet to be seen. It's anybody's guess.
And even beyond the disarmament, right? This whole issue of post-war security in Gaza, which I think Gazans as well as Israelis want to have a stake in, will supposedly be guaranteed by an international security force, this ISF, right? Comprised of troops from the region, of course, right? So what will be the nature and scope of the ISF's authority? How exactly will the ISF enforce it, especially if Israel resumes military operations, right? Does Israel even want such a force in Gaza, where it has been a dominant external force power for decades, and of course unchecked by another state or organization? So these are the minutiae of the details, which at a headline level are not really discussed, because they're a little bit further down the line, right?
I think if you have any international peacekeeping force, it would not be a whole lot different than the UNIFIL, for example, which was guarding the Israeli border with Lebanon, and Malaysia has a contingent there. It wouldn't be any more different from in terms.
It
of
won't be a UN.
In terms of actual action on the ground, operation on the ground, it has to be about the same as peacekeeping. Well, maybe a bit more, but then again, this is very dubious, because will they have police powers in Gaza, this international peacekeeping force? Will they be authorized to shoot? Things like that. I think this is a very dicey situation, very dicey thing. My personal view is it's not going to happen. My personal view is the Israelis have lost a lot of their soldiers, their people. There's been a war going on for 2 years. They've spent billions of US dollars in this Gaza hostilities, so Gaza war. I don't think they're just going to give up all that and allow some third force from a bunch of countries to come in, especially when the names being suggested are like peacekeeping forces from Pakistan.
And where will they devolve the authority from?
Exactly. So I think this is just maybe just to get the ball rolling and get everyone to attend the peace accords, but I don't think that part is going to work out very well. It's going to be very difficult.
I have a different point of view. I think that this is very much Trumpian in methodology, if you ask me, right? He always comes in, and it's just not him, it's the way he leads his cabinet or his people that are involved in the areas that his cabinet is assigned to, with a vision of how he wants to achieve certain things. And visions are always very broad. And not just very broad, it doesn't have details in it. Just like what you mentioned with respect to all this peace plan. Even if you read the 20-point peace plan, it's actually very broad. And it's relatively generalized. It doesn't have specificity into it. The way he goes about things that is a typical businessman way of doing things, which is you set out your goal, you have a vision on how that goal looks like, and then you get your people to set up. I'm going to make a certain prediction with respect to how I think it's going to come about. I pick it from what you are saying with respect to how they have carried it out before, right? If you look at this, America doesn't want boots on the ground. Okay, that will be very much against the American, the MAGA ethos, actually, to have their people with boots on the ground, right? And I don't think Trump wants any more IDF on the ground either. All right? Now, however, that is a big, what is that dog called? The one that will bite your head off?
Pitbull, is it?
A pit bull. That is a pit bull he always have, on a leash. So, you either deal with Trump or you deal with that pit bull. Okay, that is one way he's gonna handle it. And actually, if you look at it, if you look at the people who have signed and the people who are gonna fund, I can see the redevelopment of Gaza being funded from the GCC and the Saudis and the Qataris and the Omanis and all these people. Okay, because he's already hinted that they got money to burn. Okay?
Many people won't put good money after bad, right? I mean, that's the truth of it.
Yeah, but the truth is also, this is something that they will do with the political power of the world.
So my question is, right?
So let me finish this, right? So I see that actually we will end up with troops coming in from these areas, including and possibly Turkey and Egypt, all right? And actually coordinated from either Qatar, because the US has a base in Qatar, okay, or supported by American advisors in Israel. They've already committed like 200 personnel for this effort, America. That's what Trump has mentioned. 200 personnel has already been committed for peacekeeping in this. And they will dismantle Hamas. There's no two ways about it. I am willing to bet my money on it, because if you don't get Qatar that zone demilitarized, you will not have lasting peace. And the only way you're going to do that is you've got all these people together now. Now, what's the next step? This is where I see the next step is going to happen. All right? One thing, if you really look at all that Trump has done, whether it is tariff, whether it's how he has been negotiating with Ukraine or even with China, he doesn't really tell you everything.
Can I just
Sure, buddy.
I think the other thing is that there's a lot of truth to what you're saying. The larger goal which Trump is trying to achieve here, and I think the Israelis are also is with him, is normalization with the Arab world. They're using this event, this October 7th attack, which happened 2 years ago, and now is coming to this conclusion and resolution. They are using this as a pivot point, as a leverage to achieve the larger role of normalizing relations between Israel and the entire Middle East. That's why they keep talking about a lasting peace. So having said that, Hamas has suffered tremendous losses physically on the ground, personnel, people. Some sources say that their strength is down to a fraction of what it was 2 years ago. So this difficulty of disarming the remainder, what's left of Hamas, may not be as big a task as some people may think. Like, it is not really difficult, especially now. The Israelis took 80% of Gaza. Now they have pulled back. They are over 50% they're holding. It's a complete ring around Gaza, and the part of Gaza that is controlled by Hamas now, where Hamas still is present, is a very tight ring. It's getting smaller and smaller. So with that kind of physical control over the topography, over the area, it is not very difficult to disarm and to neutralize Hamas militarily. It's not really very difficult.
Hey bro, don't forget one thing, funding. Now they have already put a chokehold.
Everything is cut off. There is no funding going in.
Biggest
well, okay. So, gentlemen, the difficulty with an ideological conflict is the fact that these ideologies don't vanish. They don't evaporate overnight just because you got a new guy coming in, right?
Let me.
So the two sides.
Okay.
So I just want to say this before I stop. Okay.
Yeah.
The two sides have agreed to a ceasefire, right? But if Israel were to resume the war, because it still remains a tinderbox, right? If Israel resumes the war, will Trump take the hard steps, right, and take the tough measures to stop IDF operations? Because historically they haven't, right? And I think Hamas doubts they will.
No, I don't think he will. I think at the end of the day, the US has already said we will say what we want to say. We will set the conditions, deadlines. If they are not met, then Israel is free to do what they have to do. Trump has repeated this a few times. The clear-cut case is the bombing of Doha. The bombing of Doha actually was done fully with the knowledge of the Americans. There's no way the Israelis could have bombed Doha without their knowledge. So Doha was bombed on September the 9th, I think.
May I ask, why do you say that the Israelis would not have bombed Doha without the American?
Because the air base is there. The Al Udeid, the largest American military base in the Middle East, is in Doha.
Okay.
So they bombed right next door, outside the fence. I'm sure they would have informed them.
Sure.
But you see, they bombed. They struck Doha on the 9th of September.
Right.
And within 30 days, there was already an agreement to release the hostages. There was an understanding. So what happened in Sharm el-Sheikh was just the closing phases. So within 30 days of the bombing, the 20 hostages they came to an agreement. Yes, we will release them. So at the end of the day, force speaks loudly. But the Israeli action in Doha was definitely done with American agreement and consent. Otherwise, it would never have taken place. Because the Americans and the Israelis work together in Iran. They work hand in glove. So at the end of the day, Trump will not do anything which the Israelis find, which they have to do. Trump will not stop them from doing what they say they have to do. When push comes to shove, Trump will tell the Israelis, which he has. He said, okay, you go ahead and do what you have to do. So
this 20-point peace plan, this peace accord, or this media statement remains fragile.
No, it's got steps. It got step 1, step 2, step 3.
But there are many.
Step by
I mean,
step.
it's like a.
My friend,
This
is the way I look at it. Right, I actually want to give
it's fraught with challenges.
It's a poker Of course it is.
Of course,
It's like a poker game.
Yeah.
Right, you've got a turn card which is basically coming to the river already. Right, and what Syed has explained is that once that turn card is open, which is I bomb you, you want to stay on and fight for the river, or you want to fall, okay? Because I've just upped the ante, okay? Now, here's my way of looking at it, and I don't know whether Syed agrees or not, okay? I think this is the first time I've seen any US president have control over the Israeli president to the extent that they have. I've never seen in my entire adult life this has happened. Now, there is always a push and pull of that, right? But with respect to how much Trump can actually put his knee on the head of a Israeli president, I've never seen this happen in my entire life.
You know, you can manipulate a puppet to button your shirt. You know?
That's true too. That's true too.
My view is beyond looking at the history of Israel, United States, even the West, United States especially. It is beyond their presidents and prime ministers. The linkages between the Israelis and the Americans go back, I don't know what, since before Israel was created. You have vested interests, you have interest groups, you have very powerful people, industrialists.
Some would say that the Jews control the business world.
Well, I don't want to go into the conspiracy thing, but there are real things on the ground.
Yeah.
Financial interests, Wall Street, they're all linked.
Yeah.
So you can go down the conspiracy route, but the reality is these people exist, and they are business people. They are people who have a lot of at stake. So they will act in their best interests.
Let's put it this way.
I have to talk to you about the historical conflict, if I may go a little bit about it.
One second.
Yeah.
Okay. I akin it like, let's say our friendship. We've known each other 15 years.
A long time.
Right? Okay. So I consider you one of my best friends. So if you get into a fight with somebody else, okay, here's the thing about friendship and loyalty. Okay. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt first. I can tell you that. But as a good friend, okay, if I have that leverage with you, which the previous president has zero leverage, okay, but I think I have the leverage with you, then I say I'll pull your shoulder and say, "I said stop it lah." All right? That's the difference I see. So that's my point. Okay, go on your thing.
You mentioned the Muslim Brotherhood just now.
Yeah.
And
That's the one you want to go in?
Yeah, Chuang, you mentioned the historical
Yeah.
the historical thing. I think this also has to be looked again carefully, because you see there's something called what is really happening on the ground, which the world doesn't know about.
Yep.
For example, you take this. Let's call it the Palestine conflict now. There are 4 different Palestinian groups of classification of Palestinians who are involved, or Arabs. You have Gaza, right? Gaza is different from Hamas. Hamas is Muslim Brotherhood. They are purely Muslim Brotherhood. They control Gaza, but you cannot deny that they have force available to them. They have military force, and that's why they control Gaza with the iron hand. You also have groups in Gaza who do not agree with Hamas, or who may belong to other factions. For example, the latest now that we are seeing are the clans, the Arab clans, because now they're trying to develop these traditional Arab clans to be one possible future administrators of Gaza. They're falling back on the Mukhtar system. Mukhtar means the leader, where a clan has got a leader called a Mukhtar.
Yep.
So they want to have, one district may have a Mukhtar, and they want to put this Mukhtar and his clan as the administrators of that part of Gaza. They're going that route because it is possible, because there are people, Arabs in Gaza, who may not agree with Hamas. Then you have West Bank. West Bank does not shoot missiles into Israel. They have given up on this military hostilities, and West Bank is run by Fatah, PLO, the old PLO,
basically the old PLO.
Mahmoud Abbas. They have decided that to go on a non-confrontational, non-military, non-confrontational attitude against Israel. That's the number 2. Number 3, actually, because I've already mentioned Hamas and the non-Hamas Arabs in Gaza. You have West Bank. You also have 20% of Israel, which are Palestinian Arab. If you ignore the oil exporting Arab countries, the highest per capita earning Arabs in the Middle East are the Arabs living inside Israel. The Israeli Arabs, they are the highest per capita GDP, minus the oil country. Of course, you cannot compare with Qatar and Kuwait. And many people do not know, 20 to 25% of the Israeli medical services, doctors, nurses, and pharmacists are Arabs, Palestinian Arabs. They like this medical industry very well, and they sort of they have a very large presence. When an Israeli soldier gets shot in the battlefield, they rush him to hospital. The doctor treating him most likely be a Palestinian Arab doctor, an Israeli, or a Arab Israeli nurse. So you have these at least 4 different groups.
So our people here, our Muslim community must be calling them Zionists lah.
So you see, there is a diversity. There's a diversity among the Palestinian Arabs in that part of the world. It's not homogeneous.
It's not homogeneous.
And for a long time, Hamas in Gaza, when they see the Fatah from West Bank, it's shoot on sight. It's been that way for a long time. They just don't like each other.
Say, can I?
So if I may completely.
Go ahead.
So, but unfortunately, what we read in the media, on CNN, in the news, in BBC, is you see the Hamas is occupying the front page, your main screen on your evening news on the TV, as though the entire Middle East conflict boils down to Hamas and Israel. No, it does not. This is a tiny portion of the conflict. There is no problem. I mean, there is no military conflict between the West Bank and Israel. There are over 2 million Palestinians. There is no conflict between the Arabs who live inside Israel and those and the Israelis. They live quite peacefully. It has a huge significance, because at the ground level, if you are in that part of the world, your well-being, your economic well-being, your wealth, your future, your education, your children's well-being, all depends on where you are physically located. And where you're physically located is in Hamas, in Gaza, Hamas, it become a very significant conflict. It was dragging for a long time because of the influence of external actors in Gaza, in Hamas, which is what you mentioned just now, the Muslim Brotherhood.
Yeah.
The Muslim Brotherhood comes from Egypt. They are Egyptian Muslim Brotherhood. They have their ideas of Islamic caliphate and world caliphate and all that, which they think that the struggle over this, the Al-Aqsa Mosque and all that in Jerusalem, they have pinned their efforts in the Middle East to the so-called liberation of the Holy Land, the Al-Aqsa Mosque and all that. And of course, they are using Hamas as Hamas is their chapter. Not proxy. It's not proxy.
It's their chapter.
It is a chapter.
Yeah.
It is not a proxy. It is actually a chapter of Muslim
There's
Brotherhood.
plenty of their chapters around the world.
So that is what they are doing. So their struggle is also the Muslim Brotherhood's own agenda is now involved in Gaza.
Let me at this point.
So to complete my point,
Sure.
excuse me. So the agenda of the Muslim Brotherhood cannot be projected to the rest of Palestine, because the rest of Palestine themselves may not agree fully with what's going on. Which is why you see there's so much resistance between Hamas and West Bank and Fatah.
Let me. I just want to one thing first.
Yeah.
We've just touched that there is non-homogeneity in terms of the tribalism itself, right? We've seen the head of the snake is actually the Muslim Brotherhood, okay, and all these chapters that are causing a lot of problem in almost every Muslim country are any chapters that you can associate with the Muslim Brotherhood from either political or military standpoint. Cut their bloody fucking head off, okay, and then I think this is the thing that I want to tell our audience, especially most of our audience are Western audiences, right? CNN doesn't talk all these intricacies. They don't have a scintilla of understanding of the region or the culture. And that's why you come here to listen to this kind of thing from our guys here, gang. All right? Now, I'm going to say this. With respect to what I heard a very interesting perspective from a few Saudi people. I have business in Saudi, okay? Do you know that the Saudis doesn't even consider the Palestinians as Arabs? For them, the Palestinians are like gypsies, okay? You're laughing already because you know exactly what I'm talking about, all right? Okay? All right? No, they look at and that is exactly the reason why the Egyptians put a border that is even worse than what the Israelis have put. Okay, because they don't want the Palestinians to come anywhere near their land. Okay? They view the Palestinians are actually mongrels. Okay? For you idiots who doesn't seem to understand this reality, please understand these realities. The Arabs doesn't consider the Palestinians as one of them. All right?
Well, I think I can wash out my mouth with Listerine now.
Okay. So what does that mean?
And not just that. They've even told me, right? They've even told me, you Palestinians, we want peace with Israel. These are the Arabs telling me.
No, regardless, if I may,
sure.
Regardless, I mean, at the end of the day, they're all people, they're all human beings. Everybody has a right to exist. Everybody has a right to their future. What has messed up the situation is it's a bit long and complicated. It's a bit long, but it's not too complicated. It is actually quite simple. You see, even before the creation of Israel, the Middle East, the Arab countries have always had this problem of legitimacy because there's no democracy. In a democratic country like our country, Malaysia, US, the West, you have every 4 years, 5 years, you have elections. The people go to vote.
At the end of it also, we have a choice.
People vote, and once the leader, the prime minister, the president has been elected, he has the force of law behind him. Nobody can question.
Yes.
For 5 years or 4 years, he is the leader. You cannot change that.
Hey, not only that, buddy. not only that, our military has never been political as far as Malaysia
because
is
we
concerned.
we follow the constitution, we obey the law. But in the Middle East, you have never had democracy for I don't know when. There's no democracy in the Middle East. Even those
So-called
budding
democracy,
like Tunisia and all this, they are just in name. It's debatable, but they have never had democratic governance.
Yep.
So they always, when a leader or a government is not a democratically elected, then they have to constantly they have to justify their presence to the people because they're not legitimate. So they look for causes. If there's an earthquake, oh, fantastic! They can send the ambulances
True.
and look good, bring in the cameras, to show that okay, we are here, we are doing doing our job. We have earned your trust. So okay, there's no the earthquakes don't happen every day. Okay, let's create enemies.
We can create wars.
Let's create wars and enemies.
That gives you
That's
legitimacy.
the easier. These people are out to destroy us. They're out to take away our land. This, that, blah, blah, blah. We'll fight for you. And the biggest con game of all is religion. They're attacking our religion. We will defend your faith for you. You must support us.
We will take back the Holy Land.
Democracy, elections are that we can discuss later. But now we are under threat. Our religion is under threat. We will save the religion for you. We are fighting for our religion.
Yeah.
So this is going on in the Middle East since ages. So the big problem in the Middle East is there is no democracy. So all the Arab regimes need something to fight for, to prove their worth to their people who did not elect them. So as long as there is no democracy in the Middle East, earthquakes, fires, wars, religious threats will be number one on their horizon, number one, because it gives them an excuse to show that I deserve to be a leader because I'm going to save you against
I'm
all
your
this.
champion.
Yeah, so tsunamis, earthquakes, religious hatreds, wars, bring it on. They will take it.
Yeah. Damn, I tell you what, you hit the point on that one.
Because that's it. Because you do not have to prove yourself to the people at democratic elections. There's no voting.
It sounds a lot like a country I know.
So this is what is going on in the Middle East.
So
it complicates. Historically, I want to finish. Historically, the Jews in history, going back 1,500 years, which you mentioned earlier, the Jews have not had much problem with the Muslims. The Jews always did very well, their Jewish civilization, under the Muslims. The people who went hammer and nail and tooth and nail against the Jews were the Christians. The Christians persecuted Jews throughout history. We all know that. So Jews have had more problems with the Christians throughout history, and much less, almost none, with the Muslims. But what is going on now over this piece of land is recent, and it is complicated by what I just described in the Middle East. There is no democracy.
Yeah, because now you have so-called, previously during that era where there was peace, where there were more Jews, and now why there are practically no Jews in the Arab lands is because after World War I especially, and then World War II enhanced it, the states of that was created by the allies that won the world wars, had leaders or political leaders that really had no legitimacy, and they had to keep that legitimacy and find a foil for them to be legitimate. I think you just described that perfectly.
When you are an autocrat, you're a dictator, and all that. You need a cause.
Yeah.
You need some excuse to tell the people who are getting tired of you, to keep telling them that
look the other way.
I deserve to be your president. I deserve to be your leader for life, because I'm protecting you, fighting for our religion. I'm going to liberate the Holy Land.
One thing. One thing. I want to put a nail on this, and then shall we move back to the what can happen with respect to the treaty, to the peace treaty itself, right? I saw the GDP numbers. I think Wall Street Journal or one of the mainstream outlet came out describing after October 7th how the GDP in Gaza and West Bank came down, especially Gaza. GDP numbers, which was growing All right. And also the population number which was growing. So when these people were talking about they've been under occupation, they've been leaving their land and they could have keep on living peacefully and work out a solution whilst doing that, and they were growing in wealth until Hamas decided, as I had quoted the Hamas leader saying, we have waited 77 years to carry out this October 7 so that we can make the Jews, I paraphrase, look like, you know, the devil that they are. So they were willing, they outwardly say.
No, I think that language is from the Muslim Brotherhood.
Exactly.
It is not from Gaza. It is not from Palestine. You see, Palestine, that whole region, and the French call it the Levant, isn't it? From Syria, southern Turkey, Syria, Lebanon, all the way into Egypt and Alexandria. That area is called the Levant. Throughout history, it has been a really cultural melting pot. You have the Arabs, you have the Greeks, you had Romans, you had the Kurdish people, you had all sorts of mixes of North Africans. They all mingle in that area, and it's a really a center of commerce and trade throughout history.
Yeah.
Alexandria.
And that goes to the point where actually
Syria.
the biggest political hegemony in that area that has poisoned all this and used by all these political leaders is the Muslim Brotherhood ideology.
Yeah, because when left alone to themselves, remember how Beirut used to be called the Paris of the East? They are very good at that. They are really good at building beautiful cities and roads and buildings. They like to make things look nice. So today, if you go to the West Bank, which is ruled by a Palestinian Authority, which has been at peace with Israel since the 1978 Camp David Accords and all that, the cities and towns in the West Bank, I think Jericho and Jenin and all these kind of places, they look like little European towns, very well laid out and very neat. People live in quite good surroundings, and they have nice buildings and all that, which was also present in Gaza before this war. So because they have a very long history, and that's the civilization, the culture, and the traditions in that part of the Levant goes back thousands of years. They are a people who are accustomed to trade, business, and creating wealth. They know what to do. So if left alone to themselves, I think they will achieve a very high standard of living. They will live very well, and like anybody else, just keep moving on in life. But when these external ideologies and influences come in, like for example the Islamic Caliphate thing, right? The Muslim Brotherhood.
That's the Muslim Brotherhood.
It comes from Egypt. It is not Gaza. That is Egypt.
Yeah.
They have their own ideas what they wanted to do in Egypt. As you mentioned earlier, the Muslim Brotherhood started in Egypt in the 1920s.
Yeah, and then it got sterilized by the Iranian Revolution.
It was a local game that got clobbered and hammered in their local playing fields, in Egypt. Then they branched out. Now they're all over the world.
Wow.
But nevertheless, it is an ideology that comes from Egypt. Does it? Well, obviously, it does not fit into Gaza because of all the fighting and the destruction that is going on. So it is. If the people there are left alone to themselves, I think they will find their own level. They will find their own progress.
So.
But there's these external influences that doesn't tally.
So
doesn't
do you
jive.
gentlemen think that this is going to happen? I mean, fraught with difficulties.
Now, I
as it
think
is?
what Donald Trump has done with this Sharm el-Sheikh meeting is that he has, to me now, for the first time or in a very long time, an American president he realizes the might and the power of the United States, military, economic, political power, and not to fight wars, but to stop fighting.
So now there's
Stop
even mention
fighting.
that he could be. This is such an alien concept, right? But there's this discussion of him being probably nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize.
I don't think that is his main priority.
I
but
don't
No,
think
it's
so
not-
either.
Become
Yeah,
hyped.
I don't think Trump gives a shit
He
about
doesn't
it.
give a shit. He doesn't.
Yeah.
give a shit.
That's
But
being
what I'm
hyped
trying to say
up.
in the context
Yeah.
of him engendering world peace, Now the discussion now is if he does this in the Middle East, can he make the same thing happen in the Ukraine as well?
I think he
that's-
does.
Right?
Yeah.
Because he's trying to do that as well, right?
I just saw his
He's just
post
posted on Trump's
regardless.
social.
Yeah.
Or Afghanistan.
All right. No,
Yeah.
the thing is,
No.
the thing is very simple. Okay.
He's talking about having just gotten off the phone with Putin.
I don't know how much Modi is going to is really on board with not buying Russian oil, right? But basically, the two biggest buyers of Russian and Chinese oil is India and is India and China. Okay?
Russian oil.
Russian oil and also Iranian oil.
Yeah.
Okay? And I've said it all along. So I think one thing Trump is very good at, not just very good at, is something that he has recognized, that the economic power of America to do things and get people to actually, cry uncle is using the leverage of Americans' economic power.
There is a Muslim Brotherhood in Europe. It is called NATO and the EU. They are the ones.
Hey,
they are
repeat
the
that
ones
again.
who
Repeat
have
that
a
again. I've
Itching
never
for
heard
a
that.
fight. They are the ones
I've
They are the
never
ones
heard
who
that.
itching
So,
for a fight.
can I repeat that? So there is a Muslim Brotherhood
And
in
they're called-
Europe called NATO and
The European
the
Union.
European Union.
Yeah.
Why is that?
They are the ones who are egging this war, Ukrainian
Yeah.
war, without
Pushing the boundaries and
without bringing it to a halt. Okay, it's a war, right? It's a fight that's going on between Russia and Ukraine. Do you seriously think Putin will say, okay, I'll just pull back all my troops and we'll go back to Russia? Does anyone seriously believe that's going to happen? Come to your senses.
Yep.
It's a nuclear power. Can the Ukrainians take back all the territory that has been gained by Russia? I doubt it. So come to your senses. That's what Trump is saying. Putin says, if they speak Russian, it belongs to Russia. Simple. The four regions in Ukraine, eastern
Yeah.
Ukraine, the Russian-speaking regions, the majority Russian-speaking regions. Putin says this will remain with me and Crimea because it's traditionally been with Russia.
Yeah.
The rest, the parts where they speak Ukraine, belongs to you. Simple as that. So there has to be some kind of a resolution along that line. And I think if everybody encourages the Ukrainian people, especially Zelensky, they may tend to come to some kind of agreement. But no, that's not happening because there is a Muslim Brotherhood in Europe, NATO and the EU, which is adamantly opposed to any kind of settlement until now.
It's the Muslim Brotherhood of the old
Meaning-
neocon
Meaning,
and globalist
when I use the word Muslim Brotherhood, an ideological overlord,
correct,
someone
And they-
who is
and-
pushing their ideology into Ukraine.
and they're stuck in the post World War mentality.
So Britain, for example, fought Russia in the Crimean War. Don't forget,
Yeah.
Britain and Russia have fought wars. Remember the white Russian army during the revolution 1917.
Bolshevik.
The Western fellas sent their soldiers into Russia to fight the Bolsheviks. The British were always at the head of the column. So these fights have been going on.
Did you see how
the
Trump
great
treated
game?
Stammer during that meeting?
Yes, I did.
Yeah?
The great game has been going on for a long time. So you have all these different external motivations, forces, ideologies coming in, which mess up a Gaza, which mess up a Ukraine. This is a problem now.
Yeah.
You have to remove these external actors, remove the Muslim Brotherhoods from Europe, from Ukraine, from Gaza. Let the people sort their own problems. Yes, somebody aggressed, somebody got hit, somebody got victimized, but you have to bring it to an end. There must be discussion, some kind of thing has to be worked out. It's not for me to say, it's not for you to say, it's for them to say.
You know, I have going back to the Palestinian peace plan. My prediction is there will not be a Palestinian state. I don't think it will be called a Palestinian state. There will be a name, but the name the name Palestine will not exist. I'm putting my money on that. Okay, number one. Number two, that doesn't matter because what they want to create is actually a peaceful place, and they're going to split the Gaza and West Bank as two different entities.
You see, I mean, people, we've mentioned this before. 1994,
Yeah.
Yasser Arafat
Yeah.
became president of the Palestine.
Right.
Well, Palestinian Authority is on the letterhead, but on the ground it's called Palestine. It was made up of Gaza and the West Bank. Yasser Arafat was president for 10 years.
Yeah.
For 10 years, it was a Palestinian state for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, they already had
They
a
already
Palestinian state.
They had their own
Yeah.
passports and stuff. The only thing was that I think external affairs and defense, the Israelis wanted a big say because they
But they don't trust
They
them.
don't trust.
Yeah.
But it was up to them if the Palestinians at the time, Yasser Arafat, they had just continued and developed
Well,
their
they killed
state
him though.
and lived in peace and just kept moving on ahead, it would have evolved into a full-fledged Palestinian state.
Yeah.
Yasser Arafat was a full-fledged president of Palestine
Yeah.
because he had a membership in the United Nations. He was given all the respect, regard, and accord of a head of state.
Right.
So it did exist. But after he died, now you have two countries in Palestine.
Yeah.
One is called Gaza under Hamas, and the other one is West Bank. Totally different countries. They're not the same anymore. One is led by Mahmoud Abbas, a single person who was elected a long time ago. The other one is led
by a terrorist group.
A group, an organization. A
Yeah,
group,
terrorist
you see.
and a terrorist group called Hamas.
From one state, a Palestinian state with one president, Yasser Arafat. Now you have two countries or two administrations. I really don't know what the argument is about. For 10 years, there was no issue of will the Palestinians get their state or not, because Yasser Arafat was president of both Gaza and West Bank, and they function exactly like a state.
Well, I think.
Except they didn't have an air force and an army and things like that.
if you think about it, right? If you think about it, what my model would be is actually, Liechtenstein, Monaco. They don't have armies, okay? And they are rich as hell. They are on the Riviera, right? Dude, that's the model for you.
They may not have the shit stirrers there, though.
No. But they used to have shit stirrers too. You go back to prior to World War I, right? But in this case, if you ask me, if I want to see and if I think, I'm trying to put myself, tell me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to put myself in the guys who are going to fund. You ask that question because at the end of the day, the funders are the one who's going to put the money in and make sure things happen, right? And they want returns, okay? The Saudis is going to put the money. I think the GCCs are going to put the money. The Qataris are going to put money, okay? Because they're going to be forced to put money, okay? So in order for them to get their returns, I say I want these two as subsidiaries, okay? You guys want to live happily ever after? All right? There you go. You don't, and they're going to impose it on them. Because say, this is what shocked me culturally when I was talking to my Saudi contacts, right? And in Abu Dhabi, okay? Irrespective, as I said, how they view the Palestinians and why they don't want the Palestinians in their country is very clear. It's the same way Europe doesn't want gypsies in their country. Okay?
Well, the Saudis have an air of arrogance about them anyway, right?
Not just the
They've
Saudis.
always had been
No,
a bit
not
arrogant.
just the Saudis, Chuang. Not just the Saudis. So we got to live with this one. You got to earn the respect of your fellow men, right? If they are Palestinians, as Syed rightly put, can be respected doctors that actually and nurses that man after the IDF soldiers. You can do the same in West Bank. You can do the same in Gaza. And it's not that big. It's a small shit piece of land.
It's tiny, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
at the
tiny.
end, to me, if you ask me, it's the people are more important. At the end of the day, it's the people who live there, the human beings. What is their future going to be?
Yeah.
1948 to 1967, 19 years. Gaza was under the Egyptian administration, and the West Bank was under Jordanian administration.
Yep.
Everything was fine.
Yeah.
If you ask me today, looking forward, the West Bank, it is under Palestinian Authority that they have their own Mahmoud Abbas, the Palestinian Authority and all that, but they can integrate economically with Jordan. It's right next door.
Yeah.
And same way Gaza can integrate economically with Egypt. So you were part of Egypt. And just take it from there. Just prosper,
Dude,
trade, do everything, and
look,
just keep moving forward.
Bro, Look at Singapore. They have nothing. Okay? And what do they integrate the economy to?
And then they should earn each other's trust so that there is complete freedom of movement, trade between, let's say, West Bank and Jordan, which they have, but they can build up more.
But you got to demilitarize everything.
Same with Gaza and Egypt, right? As you said now, between Egypt and Gaza, the Egyptians have built a wall. I think it's like 40 feet high.
It makes
a double wall.
It makes Trump's wall a joke.
It's
compared
got barbed
to that.
wire on top of the 40 feet or something, and they've got mines and machine gun towers and things like what we would see in the Stalags or the German prisoner of war camps in World War II. That's how they've maintained it. It shows the amount of distrust between Arabs and Arabs,
Yeah.
So I think that is a major failure of civilization.
Not just that, a major failure. It's also a major failure of the Muslim community
if you
globally
can,
to understand the place.
Yes. If they can build trust among themselves and remove all these barriers, the people will prosper.
Yeah.
The children can go to school, they can
Yes.
become doctors, they can set up businesses.
Hell, I can go there for a holiday, man.
That's
It's
it,
beautiful.
just
Could be
move
beautiful.
forward. But this endless conflict over ideology. Like they want to liberate the Al-Aqsa Mosque. The Al-Aqsa Mosque has never
Don't
missed
get me there.
has never missed a single prayer since it was built 1,400 years ago. They still pray 5 times a day. They have never missed a single Friday prayer. They still pray every Friday. People go there by the thousands to pray Friday prayers. It's never missed a
No, there's a genocide over there. What are you talking about?
Every Muslim from that area can go and pray. It's just a mosque. So you're going to liberate it. Once you liberate it, are you going to pray 10 times a day? I mean, what are you talking
I
about?
can tell you what will happen once you liberate it. Nobody's going to go to the mosque.
So you see, but then you have these other creatures, they call the politicians.
Yeah.
So they come in and they are the ones who want to liberate it. See? They want to liberate.
Yeah, because they have no other legitimacy.
Like as though people are not allowed to pray 5 times a day.
Yeah.
Like as though there's no Friday prayers. Sometimes there are skirmishes, there are riots. Somebody gets up on a Friday and waves a banner or something.
Yeah.
Then the police will come and drag them away. Then that will become world news in the Arab capitals through Al Jazeera. Today Friday prayer was stopped, or
not just
something
that.
like that. It becomes a big issue.
And you have Hamas doing their Hollywood
So they
version of
politicize it.
videos that go
But-
worldwide on TikTok.
And the management of the Al-Aqsa Mosque has always been under the King of Jordan.
Yeah.
From ancient historical times, the Hashemite
What's the
people
big deal?
have managed the Waqf of the Al-Aqsa Mosque. The Israelis don't get involved. You decide, and they give money. The Israelis provide funds for renovations and things like that. But most of that funds comes from the Arab countries and from Jordan. Bottom line is, okay, you want to liberate it, and then what?
Like you asked me,
A mosque is for prayers, and the prayers have not stopped since Islam was founded. Since that mosque was built
you know what?
in 691 or 750 AD or something, I can't remember.
A Saudi guy told me, right, that if you want to talk about Al-Aqsa, okay, it's actually not in Jerusalem, it's in Saudi, okay. So there are also theological issues.
Let's deal with the mosque that we have today. that is complicating things even more.
I know.
Let's deal with the Al-Aqsa that we have today.
I know.
So a lot of these
I know,
things.
you know.
So a lot of these things, they are just the politicians and the interested groups, the what you mentioned as the terrorist organizations. They have their own agendas.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, their voices, these very misinformed and malignant voices, these are the voices you hear in the world's media every day. You don't hear the other side of things.
You don't hear people like us, our point of view in the mainstream media at all. Because why? We are always talking about reality from what we know of all this, from our own understanding of this culture. They are just listening to propagandists, So this is why you come here to listen to this, Anyway, Syed, I just one thing before we move to, I think I want to move to Afghanistan. Actually, another sneak peek, I find it very strange because why? I've never really been a Republican bent person from the days of college. Let's say that like that lah. Since both of us were educated in America, right? So we sort of ideologically have some influence there when we were in school, our friendships. But I had friends on both sides.
We like pumpkin pie.
Hey, there you go. I like my eggs and steak. Okay, so the thing is, I have found myself to be moving more towards, or more that actually the left has gone off the deep end, in my opinion. And actually, if I were to sit with my buddies today, they say I'm right wing, which boggles my mind as a liberal in Malaysia, But I think one thing that, and this is my problem, is the hatred for Donald Trump in the mainstream media has just clouded all objective judgment. And what he's done here is actually, to me, momentous. I never believe, considering all that we have put down, right, in terms of the ideological, the legitimacy of politics and all that, it is almost insurmountable.
It's money. It's
in
Europe now. I was reading something. Over 130 billion euros worth of bonds have been issued in Europe by the various governments because they need money to fund the weapons that they are supplying to Ukraine.
Right.
Hundreds of billions of euros, of bonds have been issued. This is big money. Somebody's
making money.
The banks are involved.
Yeah.
You need the bond underwriters. You need the bond underwriters. You need the funders.
Brussels need their squishy places.
There's interest to be earned. Assuming. Okay, let's give them a good rate. Let's say about 5% on their bonds. On say 100 billion.
That's a lot of money, man.
That's 5 billion a year. On the interest alone. What about the bond underwriting? So you have a bunch of bankers there who are happy with this war. Then that money is used to buy the weapons. So you have a bunch of weapons manufacturers who are happy with this war. And then you have the logistics providers. You have those people who transport things around. You have the caterers,
media, the advertising.
They all make money. It's billions and billions of euros,
and billions.
In the hundreds of billions.
We sound like Carl Sagan.
So imagine if this war was not there in Europe, you have to generate some other business worth hundreds of billions of euros. You have to work your tail off.
No, I think I think this is where Trump comes in and sees the world differently. I've said this in the last pod that I did with Chuang. I said, throw away everything that you know before Trump. Because the world is going to be according to Trump for the next 15 years, at least. Because I don't see anybody that can overtake J.D. Vance.
So a lot of people, a lot of bankers, weapons manufacturers, industrialists are going to lose their Christmas bonuses, so to speak.
Good for them.
If Donald Trump's
stand his Wall Street Times.
If Donald Trump's peace crusade comes through, if he puts an end to this conflict in Gaza, in Ukraine, a lot of people are going to lose their Christmas bonuses.
Yep.
So that is why there is so much hatred.
And they still buy, in Western Europe is still buying Russian fuel. What a dumbass thing.
The hypocrisy.
The hypocrisy of it. Right?
So all the previous presidents, they were warmongers. Even Obama. Obama is the president who began the bombing of Pakistan. People don't know this. He's the first American president who bombed Pakistan, their closest ally. Of course, he was bombing the bad guys. But nevertheless, he's bombed Pakistan hundreds of times. So this is the guy who promoted
and he got the Nobel Prize.
Libya, remember Libya?
Yeah.
The US ambassador was killed because they messed up their whatever strategy they had in Libya. So Trump is the exact opposite. Let's put a stop to all this.
Not just that. I think he's dismantling him and his team is dismantling the deep state, dismantling the old neocon establishment, dismantling the globalist agenda, dismantling. In fact, to me, he should dismantle the WTO. He should even dismantle. The last time you were here, what did you say about UN? Is bloody useless.
I was listening to Mike Novogratz yesterday on YouTube. Mike Novogratz is the Galaxy CEO, and he actually attended the Trump inauguration November last year. He was talking to Scott Bessent. Scott Bessent is an ex-hedge fund manager. Scott Bessent told Mike Novogratz that we're going to go so hard and so fast in such a short space of time that the world will be reeling with the changes and reforms. And that's exactly what's happened.
And you know
we're
what?
caught in this maelstrom of change, but we're going to come out on the other side of it. I think all the better for it.
I think we all going to be the better for it. And if you think I'm going to just slide in something before, because I know Syed want to talk about Afghanistan. Sorry about that, buddy. I just want to say this from a businessman standpoint. Okay, we in Malaysia, hey, Bursa, hey, Bank Negara, hey, Cabinet, listen up. Okay, the world is changing in about 5 minutes. Whatever you're doing now is useless. Look at what America is doing, what Trump is doing. Pivot now. Okay. Pivot now. Understand what he's doing. Okay, your ESG renewable scam is done. Okay, it's buried 6 feet under. Please put capital allocation and funding into where actually that is going to make Malaysians rich and make Malaysia great again. Can you please do that? Jackasses. Okay. So anyway, can we go to? I think we should talk about that since he mentioned Pakistan.
So Pakistan allowed
and the bombing of Pakistan by Obama. What the hell is going on is Pakistan and Afghanistan. Those two countries have shit all.
Pakistan allowed the wolf among its chickens, isn't it? They allowed
what Hillary Clinton said, you cannot release snakes in your neighbor's
That's exactly
backyard,
what they did 4 years ago.
And then expect that those same snakes may not slip back into your house.
They put the Taliban
bite
into the country and allowed them to exist there. And what is going on now?
I want to hear. I don't know this development apart from hearing that from Syed's blog that somehow they've left their trousers. So Syed, can you please illuminate our viewers?
Well, the conflict now, Afghanistan and Pakistan, the center of gravity, or rather the center of gravity is more on the Pakistani side. That's where a lot of the issues emanate from Pakistan side. Afghanistan, they have gone through tremendous upheavals and confusion and no direction for the last 40 years or so. But since 2021, when Taliban 2.0 took over, quite surprisingly, they are doing quite an okay job of managing their economy. Afghanistan, Kabul is doing economically. They are doing well. Their people, there's no starvation. People are going on with their work, their whatever things that they do. It's mostly an agricultural society. They're big into animal rearing. They eat very well.
Are they still
very good into biryani?
Are they still breeding kids or grooming kids?
They have their habits, I suppose. I do not know, but as an economy, as a country, they are getting along quite well. The things that we don't agree, for example, I don't agree, is their religious tilt and their treatment of women and girls and all those things that you are mentioning about.
And boys.
Those things are still there, but the country as a whole is much more settled down now than before. There is actually tourism into Afghanistan. Before there was none.
Yeah, beautiful place, huh?
There's tourism.
Did you go there when you were?
I was in the same region. Yeah, it's beautiful, gorgeous.
There's
gorgeous.
tourism. Western people go to Afghanistan now, and you can walk about the place and you can visit places. You're welcome. They don't look at you as your enemy or whatever. Things have changed. So again, if left alone to themselves, They will mind their own business. They will rear their camels and goats and build their buildings and
Yeah,
cities.
they need those goats.
And Kabul is coming up very well now. It's a nice place. New buildings are coming up, things like that. They will find their level, but the complications started with Pakistan, in my view. Pakistan has got major systemic and structural issues, which is extremely hard for them to overcome.
Military corruption.
You see, out of Pakistan's more than 220 million people population, some say up to 240.
That's a lot, eh?
We do not know the exact census. About 40 million of them are Pashtun people.
Mm-hmm.
These Pashtuns are the ones who live in Afghanistan, who run Afghanistan. Afghanistan is ruled by the Pashtun people. So 40 million Pashtuns in Pakistan who live along this imaginary line called a Durand line, the border, which was just a line drawn with a pencil on a map by the British about a couple of hundred years ago. It cut right through the Pashtun areas. So they put 40 million Pashtuns in Pakistan, and they put 20 million Pashtuns in Afghanistan. Now, Afghanistan has got a population of 40 million, of which only half are Pashtun, the 20 million. So the majority of Pashtuns live in Pakistan. So the Pashtun homeland is Pakistan. It's not really Afghanistan. You see the problem here? So there are 40 million Pashtuns in Afghanistan versus 20 million Pashtuns in Pakistan versus 20 million in Afghanistan. Now the other half of Afghanistan are the Tajiks, the Hazaras, and the Uzbeks. So in Afghanistan, the Pashtuns feel threatened because they are 50-50 with the non-Pashtuns.
So basically you're saying
they
that in terms of tribes, Pashtun actually has the single largest block.
In Afghanistan?
In Pakistan?
No, in Afghanistan. In Pakistan, there are 40 million. The
Yeah.
The largest block are the Punjabis. There are 70 million.
Okay.
So the Pashtuns, for their long-term security and whatever, they would like the 20 million Pashtuns in Afghanistan to merge back with the 40 million Pashtuns in Pakistan, which is what it was before the British came there and messed things up. So then they'll have a single block of about 60 million Pashtun people in an Afghanistan, where now the Tajiks and Hazaras will become a really small minority.
So what has happened then?
Actually? So now, because of the Durand line, it puts 40 million Pashtuns in Pakistan. The Pashtuns, of course, they have their own language, they have their own history, they have their own culture. They don't really fit in fully well with the rest of, not all of Pakistan, some parts of Pakistan. A lot of people in Pakistan don't get along as well as they should with each other, especially with this group called the Punjabis, who are the dominant group in Pakistan.
They have the best looking girls.
They control the economy.
I'm just being honest.
They control the government and they control the army.
Okay.
So you find that the Pashtun people, they refer to the Pakistani government like it is an alien entity. They call it the Punjabi Muslim Pakistan Army or something like that. Punjabi Muslim Pakistan Army. They blame it entirely on the Punjabis who dominate things in Pakistan.
Okay. So
the
how
same
did
with
this start?
The same with the Baluch.
So how did this start?
The same with the Baluch people, the Baluchistan, which is part of Pakistan.
Yeah.
They also don't fit in. They don't like the Punjabi dominance in affairs. So what has made things even more complicated is that it's a country. Pakistan is a country. You have to develop it. Somebody has to go into Balochistan and mine whatever they have under the ground, whether it is gold, uranium, coal, whatever, aluminium, magnesium, whatever. Somebody has to go and mine it. So the people who are organized and who have all the resources going for them are the Punjabis. So they have to go and do it. Of course, the Baluchi people don't like. The same thing in Pashtunistan, in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, where the people are basically tribal. They've been living a tribal life for a long time. Then you find that from the center, Islamabad, they try to organize things, put in laws, regulations, and all the usual stuff that you would do as a country. there's clashes. And then you have the pull factor from the other side across the Durand line in Afghanistan, where the Pashtuns, they already have their own country. It's called Afghanistan. They would like their cousins and the brothers to team up,
merge along.
to merge along. They see the border, the Durand line, as
a natural border.
no, it is a fake border. It is not real. It is just a line drawn by the British, because they have
So
blood.
what actually sparked this?
So then you have this in Pakistan, you have various militant groups. There's plenty of them. So in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, which is a northern part of Pakistan, populated by Pashtuns, they have this outfit called the TTP, the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, which is actually the local branch of the Taliban in Afghanistan. And these people have an ideology on top of their Pashtun identity. That ideology is called Islam. It's a religion, okay? So they all want to create their caliphates and Islamic emirates and things like that.
Is this part of the Islamic Brotherhood snake?
No, this is their own ideology.
So this is their own snake.
They have the same ideology as the Taliban in Afghanistan.
Alrighty.
So they all want to create, Sharia and Islamic emirate and things like that. So that puts them at loggerheads with whoever is in power in Pakistan. Forget about the Punjabis, because you won't agree. See, so many of these pull and push factors going on inside Pakistan. The racial differences, the language, the dialect language differences, completely different histories. The Baluch don't fit into Pakistan.
So I mean, I gotta go back to this issue, right?
And then, for example, Baluch, all their resources, they say that the Punjabis are coming in and extracting their resources. Someone has to do it. If the Baluch can't do it on themselves, somebody else has to do it.
Yeah.
It's not fair to say such thing. The Baluch will not agree.
There are some other states in our country also won't agree.
These are the humongous number of push and pull factors, stress factors, tectonic.
So what was the
stresses
spark of that war?
Well, there is
What happened
there has
actually?
been a long running
Skirmishes
and terror campaign going on between the TTP, the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, fighting the Pakistani army. Like we had our insurgency here and things like that. It's been going on for a long time. But for some weird reason, this one I can't understand, the Pakistanis bombed Kabul.
Really?
Yeah, recently they bombed Kabul. They said it was a surgical strike, decapitation strike, to take out the leader of the TTP, Pakistan, who was hiding. Wali Masood,
right.
who was hiding or living in Kabul in a house. So the Pakistanis wanted to do a surgical strike like what
Oh, they think they are Israel.
Israel did in Doha and all
like
that.
man.
My
God.
They sent their jet planes and they bombed, but they didn't bomb just one spot. They bombed a few places in Kabul.
So they used what? The Americans F-16s.
I think it was Chinese J-17. But they bombed a few places and they thought they killed this fella. But the news is he has not been killed. And the Indian news media says on the night of the bombing, this guy, Wali Masood, was actually in Pakistan. But his son died.
Okay.
His son was in Kabul.
Okay.
This is what we hear. This news is
Wrong Wali lah.
You can debate it, you can disagree with it, because we really do not know exactly what happened on the ground.
Yeah.
But there was a strike, decapitation strike, like that Doha strike.
But the Doha strike was purposely missed, in my opinion.
Well, they haven't been seen again, those 5 people.
No, they few.
So after this strike, of course the Afghan fellas, they got pissed because you strike the capital of the country.
Yeah.
So they have retaliated. They fired artillery and it's still going on. A 48-hour ceasefire has been agreed on, but it's sort of quite loose. There's still shooting going on. But I think this will taper off for the time being. But in the long run, this problem is not solved yet. I think Pakistan is in for a very rough ride.
Let me ask you a question then. Can we pivot a bit? So I've got a background on that. But actually, I still don't understand why does India and Pakistan keep having their mini wars or skirmishes. I mean, you've already got your independence for a long time. especially Pakistan. You're a small dinky fella, you know. Why does that happen?
Again, it goes back to what I said earlier. There are no democracies in the Middle East. Let's take Pakistan as an extension of the Middle East. They do have a border with Iran. Pakistan, for a very long time, was ruled by military dictatorship. For a very long time. I think only since, what's her name? Benazir Bhutto and her father.
Yeah, they're going to hang her. Did they hang her?
She's dead.
Yeah, they hung her already.
Benazir Bhutto, her father Zulfikar, those were the early elected leaders of Pakistan. Before that, it's all military dictatorship. Even after Benazir Bhutto, this guy Musharraf became the president. He's a
they hung him too.
He died. Military
He died.
dictatorship, military dictator.
Yeah.
And now you have elected prime minister. The last few have been elected, but nevertheless they are entirely at the control and at the behest of the Pakistani military army.
Yeah.
You know, they always say Pakistan is an army with a country, because the country is run by the army.
Yeah.
So basically, you want to talk about a really full-fledged democracy in Pakistan is a bit of a long shot. So again, when you have this kind of a situation, autocracy, dictatorship, army with a country, you constantly need to prove yourself to the people that you deserve to be the top dog. So forget about going to the elections and having a real 100% genuine electoral system. You will need wars, religious threats, and all these things to justify your presence here. So for the Pakistani army or the autocrats, the generals who have ruled Pakistan for a long time, India has been a fantastic boost for their image, because it's 24/7 they are an enemy. So they always like to pick a fight with India.
Understood. Cool.
Because since the real big war that was fought between India and Pakistan was 1947, 47 when they first separated. Then they fought a war, and the biggest prize was Kashmir. Kashmir. A lot of goats and animals there, and a lot of mountains.
A lot of beautiful girls.
I was there. She's a beautiful place.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place.
Hey, you guys keep on forgetting. I keep saying a lot of beautiful girls in Kashmir.
Okay, man. So you have Kashmir. It is cut in two. One part is with Pakistan. One part is with India. So India calls the Pakistani part as Pakistani occupied Kashmir, whereas Pakistan calls the other side is Indian occupied Kashmir. So that's been going on, but the border has not shifted. I would suggest they just put a fence there like Egypt has done, and just stay on your side and just go ahead and let your people have free access. They can trade, they can travel.
Look at what we do with Thailand.
Yeah, that's it. Anyway,
what's so difficult?
Anyway, so that's a situation in between Pakistan and India. Of course, there was a huge aberration. 1971, they lost Bangladesh, became an independent country. That's another big sore point between Pakistan and India, because India liberated Bangladesh. But India is a democracy. This is the thing. The strength of India is a democracy. Not much else, but their democracy is quite solid.
I understand that part. Yeah.
Their democracy is really solid, India, and their freedom of the press is, I think, unmatched.
Oh my God!
In
They
India.
go at it hammer and tongs on TV, man. My God, they're literally shouting at each other.
Indian media press freedom is, I think, unmatched in the whole world. So with that kind of so it's Pakistan controlled by autocrats and generals and a kind of a skewed democratic system, because they say that there are 5 very wealthy families in Pakistan, 5 or 7, who control like how many percent of the assets and the land, and they are the ones who provide
Sounds like
the prime
Indonesia,
ministers.
man.
Benazir Bhutto is one of the families. Now this Shahbaz Sharif is one of the families, Sharif family. They all belong to one of these the oligarchs. So these are not really strong democracies, and they're up against India, despite all its faults and whatever is horrible about India. India is a solid democracy. So I think Pakistan is going to have some issues, and it's not solved yet. And then inside Pakistan now, you find that it is cracking up. Pakistan is breaking up. The Baluchi people are really pissed with the center, with Pakistan, and I think they're gaining momentum in trying. They want their freedom. They want to break away. Same now in the north with the Pashtuns. And then you have another place called Sindh, which is
Yeah.
Karachi is located there. Sindh is not so bad, but still there are the people in Sindh, the Sindhi people, are not entirely happy. You have then you have Pakistani occupied Kashmir, which actually what the part of India that was won in 1947. The people in Pakistani occupied Kashmir themselves want to self-determination from Pakistan.
Let me maybe encapsulate for a short while. Don't know whether we've talked about all this, right? Let me encapsulate it in this way. Why I feel confident about the peace move in the Middle East by Donald Trump, and I think that photo with him and all the leaders in the Middle East, Islamic countries, and the Western Europe there is just a good point to tell everybody the world order has changed. And it is a Trumpian world order that is going to be lasting for at least, 20 years, I think. I think the groundwork has been laid. I'm very confident that the peace will be achieved in spite of all this problem. Because, any businessman will tell you, you go and start a business or you go and take over a Chapter 11 business and turn it around, you are putting fires, but you got to be moving at all that speed, like what you were saying, at breakneck speed, right? So he may not solve everything during his term, but I think he'll solve and put the foundation during this current term. And then all the other things will start changing with the next Republican term. I am pretty sure the next president for the next 2 terms are going to be another Republican. I think that, and that I think augurs well for the world because the American leadership is back. I really believe that, And I think problems like you say in terms of Afghanistan and Pakistan are going to be just like stomping fires by that stage, because the big war that we have today is Palestine, Israel, Ukraine, Russia, right? You stamp that out, and at the same time, what he's doing on the economic front is actually, say it or not, it is a decoupling from China. In my opinion, it is a decoupling from China, okay? And that world order from the economic standpoint, I think the timing is just right because Jinping, I think this is a topic I wanna go into for our next podcast. Just the banter between the two of us. I've collected quite a bit of research on it, and the 4th plenum is coming up, right? So I think, Syed, it's been a good conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah?
We should do a vote actually. Let's ask people informally whether they want to see more of Syed, and maybe we should put a 10-gallon hat on you as well.
Oh, me? Okay. I have a fedora. Which is
I gotta say, your
head is too big for this.
your knowledge of the Middle East is quite comprehensive.
Well, I keep track because it has major significance to us here.
I think so, yeah.
Well, if you're an Islamic society anywhere in the world,
correct,
what happens in the Middle East has a major significance because people are led by opinion leaders. People are led by what they think is religious threats or threats to their religion, which could be, if it involves the Middle East, then it has a bigger impact. So because of that, we have to keep track of what's going on, and especially when you have these transnational groups that come out of the Middle East and spread their tentacles all over the world, we have to watch out for that.
I think quickly on that part, this is where, things like this, even on the economic front, I think we see things very differently because we have that knowledge, we have that experience that are part of our DNA, and we look beyond the bubble of Europe and America. So this is where I don't see any in the media that talks the way we are. So come here for our perspectives.
The context. Yeah.
I was looking for this paragraph just now in that the statement that came out of Sharm el-Sheikh.
Yeah.
Because to me this is the defining statement that's going to keep all the naughty boys in line, especially Qatar and Turkey.
Right on.
As you said, Qatar and Turkey are very much pro-Muslim Brotherhood. So this paragraph, we are united in our determination to dismantle extremism and radicalization in all its forms, which means education system.
Erdogan
policy,
didn't look happy in the Oval
No,
Office,
Totally unhappy. The two guys who were unhappy was Erdogan and that Qatar fellow, the Emir. No society can flourish when violence and racism is normalized. That's what they do.
Yeah.
They preach this violence and hatred everywhere.
For narrow personal interests.
Policy, education, in their TV, media, So this is what they are narrowing down. Or when radical ideologies threaten the fabric of civil life, we commit to addressing the conditions. That enable extremism. That means they're going to go on cast a very wide net.
Yeah.
I think they're going to tackle even the textbooks that they have in their schools.
Which we should do too here.
That the conditions that enable extremism and to promoting education, opportunity and mutual respect as foundations for lasting peace.
I love the way that statement is worded.
This is a very important statement.
Yeah.
I mean the general statement of it, people just have no inkling of how momentous those statements are.
To me, this is more important that the first phase withdrawal is the Hamas here, the demilitarization. Yeah. Those are all the little
Those are details.
This is the one that's going to determine the lasting peace in the Middle East.
Yeah.
If what you say of the Republicans, by the way, you sound like a Republican governor of Malaysia. But if the Republicans are around for the next 8 years, 12 years, 20 years, this is going to be the deciding factor, the one that determines the future of the Middle East. So I hope what you say happens, because there will be lasting peace. Because at last, after decades, they have come to understand that this is what we should do.
Exactly.
This shooting can be stopped overnight. Okay, ceasefire. But if you don't
change the mindset, there you go. Look at how fast we went together.
If you don't change the mindset, you're back to square one.
Yep.
Fantastic, so gentlemen. I think that's a wrap for today.
Thank you.
Share, like, subscribe, comment, and tell us what you think about Sam's hat again.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. See you all again.
All right.
Good.
Bye.